Coming up on Mountain News this morning, we learn more about the lives of those killed during a rampage at Michigan State University and a bill that could prevent police here in the Commonwealth from enforcing any type of gun ban that passes in Washington, D.C. makes some progress in Frankfort.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
6:01 here on your Wednesday morning. I'm Dakota Makris, and Valentine's Day is over. The two most important holidays really are over. So my birthday, Valentine's Day. Let's head over to Brandon, who probably has a different opinion on the most important holidays. I only just said that just because I know Christmas is your favorite. So I just said it just a little jab.
So we're just going to move right on.
See, you can't even acknowledge it.
We're just going to move right on and talk about the important things like the weather forecast.
That's true.
That will be coming up here in the next couple of days. We are in a first alert weather day, but not for today, for tonight and tomorrow. So we're just getting you prepared for what's coming this morning. Let's take a look at see what's going on over at Jenkins, US 119, US 23. We're looking at some light traffic over there as you head towards Southwest Virginia this morning. We're going to continue to watch that trend as we head deeper into the daytime hours, so we'll keep you posted on that. Just got a text message real quick I want to read on the air, then we'll get it on the scroll here in just a minute. Apparently, Harlan County Public Schools just posted that Wallens Elementary is not in session today due to a water outage. Only Wallens Elementary, the rest of the schools in Harlan County are in session. Just wanted to mention that real brief there this morning. 45 in Wise, our cool spot. 59 Prestonsburg, Manchester, Williamsburg, and Harlan. Those are the warm spots out there this morning. It is 60 in Charleston and Louisville. Next 12 hours up to about 71 today. We'll see a mix of sun and clouds and breezy conditions. We're going to see winds up to 25 miles per hour or greater on those gusts throughout today. But tonight and tomorrow, it's a different story. We'll keep you posted on that. I have the latest forecast coming up here in just a little bit. Dakota?
All right, Brendan, appreciate it. Well, Governor Andy Beshear's administration is asking state lawmakers for $45 million in law changes to fix the state's Department of Juvenile Justice. Leaders of the department testified in Frankfort before lawmakers yesterday. The Lexington Herald leader reports the $45 million would go toward pay raises for workers at the juvenile detention centers, as well as efforts to recruit more staff. Department leaders say they also want to increase security at facilities. The scrutiny on the Department of Juvenile Justice comes after recent riots and assaults at several facilities. A newly proposed bill would let the state prosecute a person for homicide if they get an illegal abortion. Republican Representative Emily Callaway filed House Bill 300 yesterday. Near all abortions are banned in Kentucky right now. The bill does include accepting a lawful medical procedure and spontaneous miscarriages. A bill that would prevent police in Kentucky from enforcing any federal firearm bans made its way through committee. House Bill 153 is essentially a second try for lawmakers. Last year, this bill passed through the House, but never made it out of a Senate committee. Last year, the focus was making Kentucky a Second Amendment sanctuary state, and the bill's sponsor says that isn't changing.
What this does is it declares Kentucky a Second Amendment sanctuary state. It ensures that our local tax dollars won't be going to enforce Second Amendment issues that the federal government deems to be inappropriate.
Representative Josh Bray from Mount Vernon sponsored the bill and spoke at the House Standing Committee on Veterans, Military Affairs, and Public Protection. The committee passed that bill through with all but one yes vote. We're learning more about the victims of Monday night's mass shooting at Michigan State University. The 3 killed and 5 injured were all students. Yesterday, the nation also marked the 5th anniversary of the Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School shooting in Parkland, Florida, that killed 17 people. And now this is the latest tragedy is prompting renewed calls for action on gun violence. CBS News' Charlie DeMar has more from East Lansing, Michigan.
Michigan State University students received support from Comfort Dogs and each other as they mourned 3 classmates killed in Monday's mass shooting. Junior Ariel Anderson, an aspiring pediatrician, sophomore Brian Frazier, who was president of his fraternity, and junior Alexandra Werner, a talented athlete. A vigil honoring Werner was held outside her Clawson, Michigan High School last night.
She was kind and positive and empathetic and compassionate.
Investigators right now are trying to determine why a suspect with no ties to the university chose to target it.
We don't have an answer right now, and that's the honest truth.
Police say 43-year-old Anthony McCrae began his rampage at Berkey Hall, an academic building, killing 2 and injuring others. He then went to the student union, killing 1 more. Investigators say McCrae later turned the gun on himself as police were closing in.
I never thought it would happen to me.
Freshman Ryan Cahalan sheltered with his girlfriend in a nearby library that night.
Mass shootings are becoming common, and it's just not an okay thing. Like, we need to do something about it.
Students painted the words, "How many more?" on a campus landmark.
Words are not good enough. We must act, and we will.
Flags in Michigan were lowered to half staff. Classes at the university have been canceled for the remainder of the week. Charlie DeMar, CBS News, East Lansing, Michigan.
The university plans to hold a vigil later this evening to honor the victims of Monday's tragic shooting. Police say a caller's tip led them to the suspected gunman, who they say was on probation for a previous gun charge. Officials and family members of the suspect say he also had a history of mental illness. Well, in light of that shooting, it is reasonable for families in our region to be concerned about their children. And with school shootings being a common issue across the country, our Olivia Calfee caught up with one local school resource officer to learn more about its safety procedures and protocols to keep that from happening in our region. Here's what he had to say about the situation.
We make sure all the doors are locked at all times. All the classroom doors, if a child is in a classroom, other than one-on-one, if there's 2 or 3 students in there with a teacher, that door has to be kept locked.
He says he is confident about the safety of students and says they are prepared if a situation were to happen. A man accused of killing his girlfriend in Whitley County and then escaping from jail has now pleaded guilty to all the charges against him. Nicholas Rucker pleaded guilty to murder, domestic violence, tampering with physical evidence, and illegally possessing a gun in connection to the 2019 murder of Vicky Connor. He also pleaded guilty to attempting to escape from jail and 3 adult kidnapping charges in connection to an escape last year. Prosecutors are recommending a 65-year prison sentence for all of those charges. He is set to be sentenced on March 20th. One man is facing several charges after police caught him in the act of breaking into a garage of a Laurel County home. 25-year-old Logan Martin of London is charged with burglary, public intoxication, resisting arrest, and menacing. Deputies say they were called to a home on John R. Jones Road Saturday morning for a break-in complaint. When deputies arrived, they say they saw Martin walking away from the scene. After a brief scuffle, Martin was eventually arrested. One Floyd County nonprofit is preparing to help even more families after the flooding in July. Our Jordan Mullins has more from Hand in Hand Ministries and the work it's done and will continue to do to help those affected by the flood.
In a normal year, Hand in Hand Ministries helps folks who need home repairs or additions due to health, safety, or other needs.
What we have found is that we do a lot of handicap ramps, handicap accessible bathrooms, roofs, and that sort of thing.
But after flooding impacted homes in some of the communities they serve, more folks needed help.
End of August, 1st of September, we started getting those calls of people that, didn't get FEMA money, or they didn't get Red Cross money, they didn't get anything, that needed help.
Hand in Hand Ministries was able to pick up the pieces for 2 homeowners swiftly after the floods. One was an elderly woman named Betty.
We were able to get her back in her home completely by December. And I see a lot of that happening this year too. A lot of my groups will probably be going right back up to those flood zones and start working up there.
But there is plenty of work still to be done, and volunteers will continue to come to the region and partner with Hand in Hand Ministries even after disaster response groups have left.
We'll be here when they're gone. And we let them go in and rush in and do everything when everything first happens. They take care of that part of it, and then when they leave, we'll be here to pick up the slack. We'll be here when everybody else is gone.
Continuing to give folks a hand and change lives. In Floyd County, Jordan Mullins, WYMT Mountain News.
Well, Spradlin says if you need assistance in Floyd, Johnson, Martin, or Magoffin counties, or would like to volunteer with Hand in Hand Ministries, you can call their center at 606-886-0709 for more information.
Almost 6:11 here. Mild temperatures out there this morning. Very mild because of the warm winds coming in from the south. 50 right now in Clintwood, 45 in Wise, 46 Grundy, 46 Jonesville. But everybody else is near 60 degrees this morning. Mid to upper 50s across most of the area. 25 degrees or better. Warmer than this time yesterday in many areas. 11 degrees warmer in Wise. But again, double digits warmer everywhere this afternoon. Low 70s out there. Breezy conditions will continue off and on throughout the day. We'll see cloudy skies and then sunshine back and forth throughout the day. But those storms roll into play tonight after midnight. Stay weather aware and keep that First Alert weather app handy. Dakota?
All right, Brendan, thank you so much. When we come back here on Mountain News this morning, investigators in Ohio look into the cause of a toxic train disaster that forced people to evacuate from their homes due to threats of contamination.